Welcome to Powered by Ancestry. I'm your guide and host, Kwesi Kunadu. On this episode, our focus will be on spiritual animals. This topic comes from a question or a idea for a topic posed by one of our members to Powered by Ancestry. So I want to give a big shout out to Leah for proposing this idea. And this is an invitation, therefore, to the rest of you that have questions or ideas for other episodes you want to see. Please put them in the comment section. Give me a rationale for it, and I will do my best to make sure that we can do something meaningful on that topic. So, Leah, appreciate it very much for the community of folks that have joined Powered by Ancestry. Now, to spiritual animals. My frame of reference, as usual, are my people from Ghana and what is now contemporary Benin, and from Jamaica. My folks have certain ideas about the spiritual animals. Now, many of you are familiar with these spiritual animals because they fill our ordinary everyday lives. Think of the many of the sporting teams in the United States, whether they are football teams, whether they may be the Carolina Panthers, or they may be the Detroit Lions. All these teams have animals associated with their organization or their collective. And there's something about those animals, that is the quality or the temperament of those animals, for which the teams want to imbibe or want to associate with. And so for the Carolina football team, the Panther represents this very powerful, sleek, even majestic creature that the energy thereof, the Carolina football team wants to embody and perform through. The same is true for the Detroit Lions. Now, I get it for those of you football fans. Detroit Lions stink and have stunk for many years. So you're probably wondering, where is the tenacity of the lion in Detroit Lions? Now, that has nothing to do with the performance on the football field. My point is that the fact that they have chosen the lion suggested that the lion's energy and tenacity is what they want to embody. It doesn't mean that the lion will automatically manifest itself in wins every Sunday or Thursday for the Detroit Lions. So for those two examples, we know that animals occupy a very important role in not only sporting culture, but many indigenous cultures in the world. For those of us in the United States, we think about indigenous peoples of these lands that have what are commonly called totems, right? That is the animals whose energy or spirit that particular groups of people, cultural groups, have essentially mapped out certain ideas about their cosmology, about their belief system, that have a special place for these animals. So they may be the grizzly bear, they may be the crocodile, or other animals that feature on the North American landscape. For Africa-based societies, including my folks in West Africa, they have a particular category of animals referred to as Akrammoa or Akrammoa. Akrammoa is plural. Akrammoa is singular. These are called soul animals. And so my name is Kwesi, which means I am born on a Sunday, a particular Sunday, Mono Kwesi. And on that Sunday, I was born with a spiritual force called Obusum, referred to as Owusi or Awisi. On that day of birth, I was also born into two family groupings called clans. And these clans are both on the paternal fatherly side and the maternal motherly side. Let's start with the mother's side. So I am born into a motherly clan called the Abusia. And the Abusia is the matri clan. It is the mother's clan to which I am born into. More importantly, it means that birth through that clan means that my identity as who I really am is linked or located in the mother's family, mother's lineage, in the Abusia. It also means that I am authenticated as Kwesi, as a member of that clan through my mother's lineage. It also means leadership within the family comes through the mother's line. So if I am destined to be a local or village or provincial leader of some sorts, I have to be essentially be nominated through my mother's lineage. In effect, I belong to my mother's family. Doesn't mean my father's clan and my father's unimportant. Quite the opposite. My father's clan is referred to as Intong or Intoro. That is the spiritual fathering or father's lineage. Just as the abusia or the spiritual and physiological meaning of my mother lineage, the abusia, has its role, the Intoro is transmitted through the father line. It is the spirit of all the fathers that joins with the abusia or all the mothers from the mother's lineage. And these two work in complement. On the father's side, that is the spirit of the Intong or the Intoro, there are several Akrammoa or Akrammoa. These soul animals. My name is Kwesi, that's my soul name. Meaning on the day that I was born, my soul came to this earth to have a human experience on a certain Sunday. That's my soul name. Often called a day name, but that's inappropriate. It's a soul that we're referring to. Likewise, when I'm born on that Sunday, I have a soul animal that I'm linked to. The soul animal that I'm linked to as a Sunday-born person is the leopard. Which means the features, the energy, the spirit, the composure of that leopard is the character and the quality and temperament that my family or clan on the father's side, right, the Intong, the Intoro, embodies. It means, in practical ways, that my Intong or Intoro, my father's, that the spirit of my father's lineage is humane, is kind, and sympathetic. Because those are the characteristics of the leopard, among others. It also means that when I greet other people born on a Sunday, sharing the same Intong or Intoro, I will greet them and they'll respond, Ya Wisi or Ya Hiniwa. Those are the greetings and responses between members who share the same Intong. And for the Intong or Intoro, that is a body of water. There are about 12 of them. The one for me as a Sunday born is called Bosum Chi. And Bosum Chi is a abosum, a spiritual force, but it's also a physical lake. In fact, it's the only natural lake in the country or Republic of Ghana. It sits just south of the major city of Kumasi in the central part of the forest in Ghana. And there's a long story about Lake Bosum Tree, which I won't share with you now. You can check out one of my writings that talks about Lake Bosum Tree. But for now, what's important is that Lake Bosum Tree is the physical or tangible manifestation of the spiritual force called Kwaku Bosum Tree. So this lake is the body of water that is associated with all Sunday-born persons sharing this Intong or Intoro through the father's line. You might be wondering, is there a spiritual force for the mother's line? Yes. That force is called Awusu or Awisi. For that day in which I was born on Sunday, there's a complementary force on the father's side, and that's where the animal comes in. But the animals don't stop there. So the leopard is our clan animal, is our spiritual animal. It has a direct link with this father's spirit and therefore my spirit, because the father is responsible, spiritually speaking, for my maturation development up until I reach puberty. Once I reach puberty, then my spiritual energy, my sumsum, my spiritual personality, grows into its own and becomes more independent of my father's guidance, spiritually speaking. But there are other animals involved. As a Sunday-born person that is under the leopard, that is under the spiritual force of Lake Bosum Chi, I must safeguard and avoid harming these animals. The wild dog, the tortoise, the snail, a particular species of monkey or ape referred to as akwakuru, and the antelope. These animals I have to safeguard. I cannot harm or endanger them. These avoidances or restrictions or taboos are referred to as achiwadi. And you might say, well, why can't I harm or hurt these animals? Because they form part of the constellation of animals for which I have a responsibility for ecologically protecting or spiritually protecting, because those animals, though they're not my soul animals, their animals are part of the package to which my inton or in total is associated. Think of it this way. They are part of the crew that I have to ensure and safeguard. Because if I were to, for example, kill the snail or kill the antelope, and let's say I was to eat what is commonly called bushmeat, meaning from animals that roam in the forest, it will lead to certain health and other consequences, spiritual consequences for me. This is why they must be safeguarded and avoided. No harm should come to them from I as a Sunday-born person. So, on the other hand, I venerate and honor the leopard as my soul animal, my spiritual animal, but I must also ensure, as a member of nature, as a member of the natural world, to safeguard the snail, the tortoise, the antelope, the wild dog, and that species of monkey, because if I were to harm or injure them or kill them, would have a net negative effect on my spirit and on my spiritual belonging and family. This is the delicate web of energies and matter that are at play. It's this interplay that makes human life what it is. We can't go through this life alone, and if we do, we can't go through it alone successfully. There's a balancing act. And these spiritual animals, both my soul animal and those that I must safeguard and avoid harming or killing, they play a major role in that larger preoccupation of living out the purposeful life. Because these are some of the ecological guardrails to keep me in stasis, to keep me balanced, to keep me whole. For instance, I've seen a number of leopards in my dreams. It means your ancestors are there to protect you. The leopards are usually friendly, which means they're not there to bring harm to you. They're there to protect you. They're there to guide you. And if you need protecting, it means that you should look out because something may be on the horizon that you need to be aware of. And so, in many ways, the spiritual animals, they occupy a very important place in the ecology, in the constellation of how we move through this human world, having these human experiences. But the human world is not the most important world. It isn't. The spiritual world is, and the natural world is, in combination, in tandem, in their interplay. So, we'll pause there for this episode of Powered by Ancestry on the topic of spiritual animal. I want to shout out again, Leah, for the suggestion. Keep the suggestions coming. Please note your question or comment or idea for another future episode in the comment section. I've been your guide and host for this episode of Powered by Ancestry. Please join us again for another. Stay well.